Hello everyone, I'm Carlos Esteves, a director here at Factory Phnom Penh, and we are back with another interview by Factory today. I am very honored and really happy to have our guest this morning with us, Miss Adana Mam Legros, who is coming to join us for another episode at Factory's interview. Thank you so much for saying yes to this invitation.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
This is the first time we interview someone in the morning. We're normally interviewing all our guests during the afternoon, but of course this is a beautiful morning in Phnom Penh City. The weather is also really nice. So we're enjoying these beautiful spaces here in Workspace 2. So if you haven't checked it out, come to Factory Phnom Penh and find this yellow room in our Workspace 2 building. Okay? Well, thank you for joining again. We prepared some questions for you, and I'm sure the audience will be very interested to learn more about you, your works, your profile, the social impact that you have within the community, and hopefully, obviously, it will echo internationally. But why don't you start telling us about yourself, telling us who you are. I know a few things about you, but I'm very, very sure that the audience will be pleased to hear that from your own voice. Who are you?
Who am I? Just a little human in the world trying to do some things. Well, my name is Adana Mam Legros. I'm an artist and activist in Cambodia. I'm half French and half Cambodian. That's why I look not French or Cambodian at all. But yes, I grew up in Cambodia, and I've traveled. After 18, I traveled around the world, came back 3 years ago, and started my art career here.
Yeah.
And I'm also the president and co-founder of Generation C, which is a artistic and social movement.
Yeah.
And we're trying to shift consumers to global citizen, aware and ethical. In today's world, this is what we need. We need aware citizen that really have an impact on society. And so, yeah, we want to fight for an empathetic civilization.
As I was looking into your profile and your professional background, I understand that you have a background in law and political science.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that journey? I feel like people might not know that you actually have knowledge in law and political science.
Well, my parents have an NGO that fights against human trafficking. So I grew up surrounded by a lot of victims of sexual exploitation, human trafficking, rape, and a lot of very terrible stories. So as a kid, when I see my parents, I wanted to do something about it. I wanted to follow their footsteps. What can really change a country? Law, political science, like politics.
Policies.
Of course, we can really have a big impact on society. So I decided at 18 I will go to France and study law and political science in Nice. And after 3 years, I didn't like law at all.
Honestly?
No, because I think I'm an artist since I was born. I did not know that. And as an artist, you cannot put me in a box. I will always try to get out of the box, try to link things together. And I think law for me was too strict. I needed that freedom. But I love political science, and I will continue my political science studies. By curiosity, I think anthropology, neuroscience, psychology, psychoanalysis are topics I really love, and I really want to study more. But then after 3 years, I had cancer, and I had to stop law school because I had to go through intense chemotherapy for 6 months. So you lose your hair, you lose your eyebrows, you become a small alien. But it was an incredible
How old
journey.
were you when you were diagnosed with that cancer?
I was very young. I was 21 years old. So at 21, you have like your entire life in front of you. You have a mission. You want to you want to make your parents happy about you because you're a law student. But cancer was a good reminder of life and death. It was a good reminder of impermanence. And I think the biggest lesson from cancer was, one, nothing is important. Nothing really matters in the end, because everything is impermanent. Second of all, I think it's understanding or being able to detach from life, from the material, from everything. So really have a step back and just observe life how it is.
Did you had any symptoms? Were you ill before you were diagnosed with cancer, or how was your journey to discover
I was so lucky because my grandma passed away. My father had a heart attack, and all those events was very traumatic. So I started to have back pain, very intense back pain. So I went to see a doctor to fix my back, but still the pain was there, and I was
Chiropractician.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I still had that back pain. I was very stressed. I didn't eat much. I started to feel very weak, and I started to see everything blurry. At that time, I did breakdancing.
Wow.
And when I was at the breakdance, I couldn't do any moves. I was not
This
focused.
is all at 21, yes?
Yeah.
You're a student, and then you have all these symptoms.
And then I went to see a doctor. He said, it's okay. You'll be fine. It's just like an inflammation or something. And my father said, this stinks. This is like cancer. And I was like, Dad, come on, I'm 21. So when I came back to Cambodia for a small vacation with my mom and internship here, my father said, please go see a doctor and do a small scan, which I did. And I'm not a doctor, but when I saw the scan, I was like, this is not good. So I prepared myself. I was like, you know what? Cry all you want, be stressed out. But the moment you arrive in France, you're a warrior. You get up there and you be strong for your parents, but for you. And that journey started out, it was difficult. It was terrifying. But I've learned everything that a human have to learn about life.
Did you go through a chemotherapy, and did you have to go through all of that? Painful. It's a painful journey, I guess, mentally, but also physically. You have to go through a full transformation of who Adana is, right?
It's kind of like what I told you last time during the conference. It's like a caterpillar before becoming a butterfly. It has metamorphosis, and I feel like inside it's all liquid, so it's digesting itself. And I feel chemotherapy was the same way. It was a lot of operation surgery, and then we had to inject chemotherapy here, and I still have a lot of scars from the chemotherapy. And it was liters and liters of chemo. So your body I became an 80 years old woman. I couldn't stand up. I couldn't walk. I couldn't breathe properly. I could hear my heart beat very fast for 6 months. All my articulation was hurting. I couldn't even handle my own, when I eat soup, it was shaking. I had a heart attack in the hospital. And it was interesting because it was a life teaching you a big lesson. And there's two ways. Either you learn from it, either you deny it.
Or you also give up, right? Like you just give up, or you give in into the sickness, and then you get into that pattern of just losing hope. It's very challenging. Thanks for sharing. I'm not sure how many people actually within our community have relatives or friends that have been diagnosed with cancer. It's probably it's very tough for sure. But obviously you have this shining light spirit, this bravery within yourself. So obviously that probably helped you to conquer that. Yeah,
I was the mascot of the hospital. I was always a smiling little girl.
Is this a time when you start painting? Because I understand that after you came out of cancer, you venture into I don't know, just art. Painting, art.
It's crazy. So I used to draw when I was a kid. I started, I don't know when I started, but I always liked drawing. I always doodled during class. We're very bad. But do this, it's good for you.
For sure.
But then during cancer, I don't know what happened. I just needed to share my story. Not my story, to share the lessons I've learned through cancer, through art. I don't know, and I just asked my father, how did that idea came out? And I don't remember. I just knew I started to draw, and I told my father, my mission now is going to New York. I have 6 months to make an art exhibition, and I just wanted to share my lessons. It's not even my story. I wanted to share 7, 8 chapters from who you are as a self-destructive person.
That's the first exhibition in New York, right? Okay.
First ever exhibition. I've never done that my entire life, and I did it around the sense. What cancer taught me, and through meditation, what I understood is our senses is very important. That's how you connect with yourself and with nature. And we forget to, we already pass by, we look, we don't observe. We see, but we don't look. We're not here in the present moment. And when you're connected with your sense, you're in the present. And the future is not there yet.
Sounds like you did a lot of meditation.
Yes, every
right?
day.
And a lot of mindfulness exercises to be where you are at that moment. Did you have any source of inspiration during that time that helped you, I don't know, to look forward to something?
The
Who
meditation?
inspire you? Yeah, to do meditation and also to do arts, right? There is always something that triggers. Maybe what happened to you through your cancer journey, but also maybe a person or a hero or heroes or different artists at the time who you look up to?
I feel heroes. There's so many heroes. There's so many people that inspire the world. One of my favorite author I've read during my cancer was Krishnamurti. He's an Indian philosopher. Passed away a long time ago.
Okay.
You know?
Well, I lived in India, and when you talk about Indian philosophy, I really quickly recall my Indian days, and I admire, of course, Gandhi, for example. But tell me about this philosopher.
Krishnamurti was very, you have to read it, it's very complicated, but at the same time, very simple. Very simple things. But he's one of the person that inspired me during all this period. But so many other people, I've read so many books. I read this book, Homo Sapiens.
Okay,
and that book inspired me so much too.
It's a good book.
But of course, like Les Lumières, the light, les Lumières from the 18th century. They inspired me to be the person I am today. There's a lot of big names like Edgar Morin, a French philosopher, activist. He's now 100 years old, wrote a lot of books. But I think what inspires me and who's my hero, I'll just say nature.
I really like that you recall these authors, and I really enjoy that you're actually reading. I think it's very important for our young audience and the not so young to make sure that it's so important to read. We sort of sometimes don't take it into account, but we must read. How often do you read, and what are you reading now?
Oh
That's
my
not
God.
on the questions, but I think it's a good topic to discuss.
I started to read when I was 20 actually. I really started to read maybe a book every week. Since I arrived in Cambodia with a lot of work, indeed I don't have much time to read, but I try at least to read a book every 2 weeks maximum.
Wow.
So I read a lot. My father, every birthday is a book.
It's a great habit.
It's a great habit. It's so important because it makes you focus. It makes you focus on one thing you read. Because you know when you read and your mind starts to wander around?
Drift.
Yeah, because you're not focused on one thing, and that's meditation, is to be able to focus on one thing, your breathing, how you're feeling.
Any book you'll recommend our audience that they should read?
Okay, well, we just talked about Homo Sapiens, from
it's called Noah Yuval
Harari.
Yes, Harari. Yeah, he's an Israeli historian.
Yeah, exactly. But we have a lot of books, meditation or science. They're very good. I'm reading right now a book called The Marshmallow Tests.
Oh.
So the marshmallow test is when you put a marshmallow in front of a child, and you say if you wait 5 minutes or 10 minutes,
psychology,
you have psychology, neuroscience, sociology. It's a global thing, and what it's telling us is that our phone's right here. If you spend a lot of time on it, on Instagram, just swiping, your prefrontal cortex is not working at all. And the prefrontal cortex is actually the intellectual brain, the one that solves problems. The problem is when you spend a lot of time on these things, as in scrolling and not thinking, you are only boosting your dopamine in the brain. So it's the primitive brain. So the prefrontal cortex is not working
It's
at
an
all.
auto mode, right? Like you're not really exercising anymore. You're just like moving like a robot kind of a thing, right?
And
you're
that
being,
is sad, because right now our generation is all about scrolling.
Another user generation. Why don't you share with us? I mean, I met you a couple of months back here at Factory, and Funky was talking about Generation C and the campaign, I'll show you who I am, that we did at the FT Gallery. I personally was really moved and really compelled by the video production, and also the stories of each artist that you were like showcasing in each photography and videos, also your work. Tell us about the Generation C movement, and like what was the campaign, I'll show you who I am.
Okay, so Generation C. C stands for Covet. To be honest, that's how I got my inspiration. Why Covet? Because I feel that Covet hit everyone, no matter your age, no matter where you live, your social rank, your religion. It hit human. And what it taught us is that small virus was able to impact all humanity, and that our system in general is not working well, is failing us. So we have to think of an alternative. Our generation have to think of not about what's happening right now with COVID and discriminating each other, but of the future of a civilization. We're understanding now that there are systemic crises happening. systemic crisis, meaning
We see
environment.
it everywhere, yeah.
If there's a problem with environment, there will be mass migration, because if countries are going to be underwater, they're going to migrate. But right now we're not even able to control migration. So there's going to be a massive crisis around the world. And of course, migration, it will link to economy link to social, psychological. So we have a massive crisis coming, and we're not ready. We're not ready to face that. Generation C is an alarm to say to people, stop, like, being consumer is good, but is it working? Is it on a long term? Is it going to work on a long term situation? It's not. We don't have the vision as Homo sapiens. It's also to remind us that we are monkeys wearing clothes. We're Homo sapiens. We're not master or possessor of nature. And what we're doing right now is we are trying to be what we're not. We're trying to possess everything. And we're
people value power. People, I mean, not just people, governments, and the economy focuses in wealth of specific individuals rather than a collective well-being, right?
That's why I want people our generation to start to be aware of our action, that we can be ethical in what we do, that we can change things, that even one person can have a massive impact in society. Don't never underestimate your impact in society. And so this Generation C, we fight for a more empathetic civilization with basic human value that every culture, every religion can understand and can adapt. We need a global constitution. Like right now we focus, I don't know about that. We have to see, I'm not the experts, but the goal is to unite experts and ask them, so what's next? Because I don't have all those knowledge. We need people to have the knowledge to talk.
No, this is your this is your personal perspective, and I think it's very interesting to have these conversations right now. Someone needs to be talking about it. Someone needs to provoke thinking and start questioning yourself, questioning the system, questioning governments and powers, and not just questions, but perhaps do something. When you did the campaign again, I'll show you who I am. You carefully selected all these females. Can you talk to us more about that? So, changing the gender role.
It was really interesting because Generation C is also we work with art. So we do exhibition, we do campaigns, and this time Dan Church, it's an organization in Cambodia, asked us to do a campaign for them. So I collaborated with Giselle Studio, incredible young artists, and they came up with ideas for the campaign. So I'll show you who I am. Started out with a campaign for women's rights in Cambodia, and we selected 3 powerful women in Cambodia.
There are more, but we selected only 3.
So we have Tarawat. She's an MMA fighter. She is strong.
Badass.
She's a badass.
She's a badass.
The second person is Belle. She's a dancer. And then the third person is Kesa. She's a rock and roll singer. And all those 3 women really represents for me strength, intellectual, confidence, and the power and to change. And so when we chose the woman, we asked them to take off like a traditional, it's not silk, it's fabric. So we covered them with fabric, Khmer traditional fabric, and in the video, she starts to take it off.
We'll probably show a video here as reference. Because one of the quote that we was inspired of was, when men are oppressed, it's a tragedy, but when a woman is oppressed, it's tradition. Wow.
And that is a very strong quote, and especially for Cambodia.
Can you say it in Khmer? Because you translate that into Khmer as well.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we'll put the subtitles.
I don't remember.
But it's really powerful, and it's so true. And I'm sad to say that, of course, that applies here, but it also applies in countries like mine, Mexico, and countries in Latin America where, like, just traditionally women are oppressed, and that has to stop. I know you have a younger brother. I have a younger brother too, and I have younger colleagues. And what is the advice that we should be giving younger male? I'm not even talking about females. I think right now we probably can advise the younger guys out there who have sisters, who have mothers. How can we help you guys to change this narrative? How can we men be of support to you when it comes to this issue?
I don't know if we should look at that angle.
Okay, please.
I think the angle is the root of everything. It's not the man or the woman. It's not only the oppression, but if you go in the root, it's the entire system that is wrong.
Right.
If we had other value, maybe we would act differently. How about we look at the mothers? Who educates the man?
Yeah.
Most of the time is the mother. In Cambodia, at least, is the mother.
And guys were close normally to the mom, right?
And so how does mother also educate their own sons? So of course, every man, I know it deep inside them, you're asking yourself the question. It's as long as you're mindful and think of ethics. If you have your own principle, you don't need advice from anyone. You know what is good and what is bad. I don't like to say that, but it's...
we understand.
I feel like it's the root of the problem. If you really want to change how women is perceived in society, we have to tackle every
many schemes of societies, right? We're talking about perhaps culture, maybe even religion, our education systems, the workplace. I agree. I totally agree. Perhaps I see what you're saying. It's a bigger, it requires from everybody. Sorry.
It's especially parentality. It's all about parenthood. And we always put kids in the school and we're like, we're done. They're good. They're going to be intellectual and have high degree. But is high degree ethic? Is high degree enough for the child to be grow as an ethical person? I'm not sure. The person grows because the parents are there to teach them principle, values. It's not school. School give us technical and theory, practical things in life. But parents give us so much more.
So many other lessons that we learn at the house.
Yeah.
So good. That's very, very true. I really hope that our audience can help us to think on what are the ways to change the narrative, right? And to, of course, support women and help on empowering you guys in everything that you do. Thanks for that. Tell us about the upcoming exhibition that you have this weekend.
Yes, it's so soon.
Yes, so soon. When this video comes out, the exhibition is probably, how long is the exhibition? It's probably going to be there for
1 month.
Okay, so when this video come out, they will have time to come to the commune.
Yes.
And to see your exhibition. Please tell the audience about this work.
So this is my next and my last exhibition in Cambodia. So I really hope you join, because after that I will go to Europe and take over Europe if I can. But this exhibition is called Convive Art. Convive Art is just a funny way to say convivialism. Convivialism is the art of better living together. And I think this is a topic we should talk about right now. Our current situation in the world is so chaotic. We've been just hating and fighting each other, and it's important to start to think of what gathers us. What is convivialism? How can we live together in peace? Because that's the problem. Right now we're just fighting each other. And this exhibition is a collaboration with Raphael Pitt. He's a photographer, and also with Future. It's a architect firm. And the goal is to talk about 6 principles of convivialism. Convivialism is a movement existing in Europe, this philosophy of a way of living together, and they have 6 principles. And all this principle is about respecting nature. It's about arguments, but in a structured way. It's about understanding that the richest gift we have is our relationship, human to human. It's about understanding that we're all different, but we can all unite and work together. So it's a lot of principle. And so I've asked those 2 artists, and myself include, to exhibit art that is in collaboration with the principle. But that's not it. There's also a virtual exhibition, so a 3D exhibition that will be done by Future. And we have 10 artists from around the world, from Brazil, Italy, Lithuania, France, Japan, Cambodia, to also illustrate the principle through their art. We have
Nice.
dancers, poets, singers.
Yeah.
We have really all kind of arts.
Yeah.
And also I've also done a campaign with high profile personalities such as Vanda, who also joined our campaign.
Yeah.
It's a Generation C campaign. We have Kesa Bongtarawat, who also joined. Really powerful people, and also our youth who joined
Yeah.
in. And the goal is to remind people that we're Homo sapiens and that we need each other to live, and
Yeah.
that fighting is not a way to resolve problem, and that we really have to think of the future of our civilization. Because right now we're confronting with a big wall, and if we're not gathering to think
Yeah.
and reflect of our situation, we're not going to get out, not alive, but get out well.
The message is really, really powerful, and I hope the audience can go to the commune. I said open every day.
It's open every day, and it closed, I think, at 6. So open, I think, morning until 6.
Come during the weekend. It's gonna be there until the end of December, correct?
Yes, until January 15th.
Okay, January 15th. They will have a few more days to go see
Yes.
it and probably take some selfies and send it to us so we can share them in our channel. I think it's really, really important for people to live in harmony, right? Yeah, awesome. The last question. I saw that you're shortlisted a Woman of the Future.
Yes.
What does that mean to you? And also on your own perspective, how do you see the Cambodian women of the future? Where is this generation going to? How, on your own perspective?
It was interesting to be nominated, shortlisted by Women of the Future. I really have this big appreciation for Netmin Chesrai. She's the director of the National Bank, and thanks to her, I'm here. If it was not for her, I would not be this artist doing things in Cambodia.
Women supporting women.
Yes, and she is a leader, a woman, a figure that is so strong in Cambodia. I look up to her every day. She's a hero for me.
Wow.
She gave opportunity. She does a lot of things for Cambodia. She is so smart, brilliant, and also generous and kind. And I think that she's leading women here. And when I was shortlisted, when I was shortlisted by her in Women of the Future, I saw a lot of Cambodian women too.
Yeah.
There were multiple of us.
Yeah.
And they are so brilliant and smart and came up with very innovative ideas.
Amazing.
And I think that, yes, Cambodia have this opportunity for women. We just have to push even more and give them more platforms.
Yeah.
And thanks to you, I'm having a platform, and then you will have more, and I will have more, and you guys here behind the camera we'll give more platform for women. And
That's
I think
beautiful.
we're getting there.
Yeah, I agree. And we're gonna do whatever we can to keep on supporting art, women, of course. Thanks a lot for sharing.
Thank you.
Thanks for opening up with us and for sharing our journey, your journey, especially with our audience here. Guys, for more details, we're gonna leave Adana's information on the copy. Do you mind sharing with us your website? And
yes.
how can people contact you?
I have Instagram, Facebook, Telegram, email. Email is a good way also. It's been a long time.
Email is a good way. We'll leave the details here for more information of our upcoming exhibitions and work. Thank you so much. And thanks to the crew behind the cameras. Thanks, Adana.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And see you later, guys.